What are you the best in the world at? What do you do better than anybody else? Why should somebody work with you specifically? Everything has a price. What is your time worth? Everybody has a price for time. Value stacking is amplifying the perceived value of your thing. Create an offer people feel silly saying no to. It should feel like an absolute no-brainer.
Bringing out to the stage our next presenter, Javi Chavez.
Thank you. All right. I'm excited. I'm going to cruise through this, and then I'll hopefully have some time for Q&A. So if you have questions about the office, the team, the roles, all that good stuff, I'll make sure that we can answer those things as well. But what we're going to get into is just how to create your unique offer. I'm the details guy of the company, so when I showed Ryan this presentation, he's like, there's too many bullet points. But I was like, you know what? I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys as much information as possible. I'm going to try to make it engaging and fun, but I want to make sure that you guys, there's enough details for anybody to be able to walk away and have something to get out of this presentation. So I think it's going to be great. Creating your unique offer, so we want to make sure that it's profitable, it's scalable, and impossible to refuse. So let's do it. First, who am I? So I'm the COO here at Pineda Company. Prior to that, I was in the tech and startup industry for about 8 years, building sales teams. Started off as a sales rep, then moved on my way up. Funny enough, I started selling cars. That was my first thing. Didn't last very long because the culture of car sales is not the best. So then I invested into learning from Ryan in 2020. So I came through his real estate mastermind, learned how to wholesale houses, did that part-time, did pretty well, but was also building out businesses. And that's what I really loved. During that time, I was working for the second fastest growing company to go from $0 to $100 million in recurring revenue. It was a blast. Rocket ship, loved it. And then Ryan and I were golfing in 2022, and I wasn't looking for a job. He wasn't looking to hire me, but my skill set, he needed somebody to help build the real estate side and all the other businesses that he was doing. And funny enough, I kind of had that experience. And so it worked out perfectly. Looking back on it, I know it was the Holy Spirit moving. And more importantly, though, this is the big thing, right? Follower of Christ, new dad as of 5 months ago. So there's my beautiful wife, our baby for Mother's Day. And then I'll get out of the way here. Actually, so that's my wife and I getting baptized. And that woman on the right-hand side is Mindy, Ryan's wife. And the thing that I think about a lot is what Ryan was mentioning about, like, hey, how can entrepreneurs impact like other people, right? So like I fell away for a long time in my faith, and by working here, probably for the first like probably about the first year, like I wasn't active or a believer. I would walk past, so that conference room upstairs, I would walk past that every Wednesday when they were doing Bible study. Never felt called to go in, never felt like a desire. And it wasn't because Ryan was inviting me to Bible study. It wasn't because he was like, hey, you should come to church with me. It was because of the way he carried himself, what he preached he actually was, and that made me attracted to the faith again. I was like, I want what that guy has. And then when he's like, well, it's God, it's the Holy Spirit, I'm like, sign me up. No, but what it really was he was going to go pick up a new car, and it was about an hour, like 45-minute drive away. He's like, hey, can we drive? And then I started asking him questions. Somehow I forget, what was this, probably 2023, I made like 3 wrong turns, and it turned into like an hour and a half to 2-hour car ride. Again, Holy Spirit moving, because I had a lot of questions. But the big thing that I want to emphasize, it wasn't that he was inviting me to church. It wasn't that he was, telling me to come to this Bible study. It was who he was and how he was carrying himself that brought me back to the faith. And because of that, like he talked about, now as an entrepreneur, how can you impact other high-level people, right? Because not only is he tithing, now he created a tither. Now he created somebody who is going to raise his family in the faith. And what kind of ripple effect could that have in my life? Well, I already know what it's going to have in my life, my daughter's life, my future kids' lives. and like what is that impact? And that's just one person. Now, I also think about with culture, I would probably say when I joined the company, I would say maybe it's like a 70-30 split non-believers to believers. I think today, I think it's reversed. I think it's probably like 70-30 with people who are bold and active in their faith versus not. And again, you don't have to be a Christian to work here. But I think it's just a testament to who he is and the true impact of like what somebody who's bold and active in their faith can do for your business, for your employees. And I'm a testament for that, and I think it's huge. So first of all, round of applause for all you guys, because that's what you guys can do in your business. All right, tactics. So these are the keys to building a scalable offer, right? And I'm going to really deep dive into all of these items throughout this presentation. First one is clearly defined benefits. So like they know exactly what they're going to get when they work with you. Like the end result is very, very clear. Next thing is we think about no-brainer guarantees. And I'm going to dive into what exactly that means later. Genuine urgency and scarcity. We're not just saying, hey, I only have 5 spots, right? Like we're being very clear with the type of scarcity that we have, and we're being genuine with it in why they should move forward today. Then immediate tangible wins. How quickly can somebody spend money with you and feel like they are achieving their result right away? And then, of course, profitable pricing and scalable pricing. Because obviously, you can have a great offer and the people get a ton of value, but if you ain't making money, you're not going to be in business very long. Everyone got photos? All right. So first thing is it profitable? And Ryan talked about this a lot, like with your payback period and shortening it. I'm just going to try to tweak it a little bit for the sake of your offer, right? So the sooner you get the money back, the sooner you can spend. By the way, how many of you guys like Ryan's presentation? Was it pretty solid? Yeah, I liked it. And the way you do this is you can offer incentives for upfront payments, annual discounts, bulk pricing. So how can you get more cash up front, right? When people are like, hey, like buy several things, get a little bit of a price break. Can you charge setup fees on the upfront for your services? Like just how can I collect more cash up front so that way I can either spend more, be more profitable. Typically it's just to spend more so that way you can get more clients. Next is productize your offer. I'm going to expand on this a little bit. So people are used to paying upfront for products. You're used to spending money and getting a thing. They're used to waiting upon completion for services. A great example, I had my AC go out literally yesterday. It was a fun night with a 5-month-old. Luckily, it was all good, but AC guy shows up, does the work, and then sends an invoice. Like, how much long is that payback period for him? So what are strategies that you can think about in your business to get paid today, right? Whether that's a deposit or other ways that you can collect cash or productize your offer. So for example, consultants, right? Like how can I change me creating like this package to now an actual product, like what we call like our Cashflow 2.0 offer, or Ryan previewed client flow for you guys. But these things, like how can we productize it? And then what are the margins you're operating at? Our target and our goal is to operate, number one, we're trying to recover our cash in 7 days. And then number two, ideally, doesn't always happen this way, especially when we're in scale mode, but our target at scale is a 35% profit margin. That's where we want to be at. So next thing is it scalable? How can we automate this thing? And are you this is a self-assessment. Are you the one actively performing the tasks? Like, are you the one that if you are not there, the product does not get fulfilled? So I need to identify what my current growth constraints are. So again, are you the one that has to fulfill? Systematize that delivery process. So once you put somebody in place, how can we outline every single step of the fulfillment process and pass it off to somebody else as quickly as possible, right? Because for example, for us, using defined processes, the technology that we have, in our current real estate education and service business, I can add hundreds of clients without putting any stress on our fulfillment team. So by the way, employee-wise, at one point, we had 100 employees across all of our different businesses. Now, we're probably down to about 35. And we're making more money, and we're making more on our bottom line because of technology, and also because we've just set up our processes on the back end where now I can, with 2 account managers, handle hundreds upon hundreds of students, maybe get to thousands with just 2 people. So really think about, like, when Ryan says AI is going to take most jobs, it is going to. And we are actively testing and trying new things to make sure that we can make this as efficient as possible with our offer. And then another thing too is, but like everything has a price, right? So with one-on-one, what is your time worth? Ryan charges like $100,000 for one-on-one for a year. It's worth it for him. He'll sit down with you guys for $100,000, right? But it's intentionally priced high, right? Everybody has a price for time, right? So just figure that out too. Like, it's okay if you are the one fulfilling, but it has to be worth it for you. And then now getting into your offer, what makes you unique? So you guys have to clearly define your competitive edge. And the way this breaks down is, what are you the best in the world at? So what do you do better than anybody else? And like, why should somebody work with you specifically? And then can you do this consistently at scale, right? We know with as many people that we add, the quality of the product is not going to decrease. But when you're working one-on-one with somebody, like Ryan can probably only take 10 one-on-one clients at most before the quality of the service decreases. So at what point will your offer break in terms of fulfillment on the back end? So how can you do this consistently at scale? You know, using the Chick-fil-A example, Chick-fil-A could pump out, I don't know how many chicken burgers, but it's a lot, right? Before the quality would start to decrease. And then again, so for us, what separates us specifically on the wealthy side is nobody can touch our offer. Nobody can provide leads, one-on-one coaching, software, lending. Like, we do everything for our students. So in that situation, nobody can touch it. It's a no-brainer offer once we can communicate that value very, very quickly. And Ryan's going to talk about marketing and how to position things later. But for us, it's when your offer is so good or your product is so good, marketing, sales, everything gets easy when you have a good offer in place. So this is why we start with offer, because if your product or your service isn't very easy to sell, it's going to make it tough on the marketing side, on the sales side, and everything else. Yeah, no one can touch our offer. And so here, I'll let you guys take a picture of this. This is just a quick assessment that you guys can take in terms of how to define what makes you guys very unique. So these are the different categories, right? Pricing, delivery of speed, quality of service, guarantees offered, unique features, advantages, customer support, client testimonials. And when we talk about client testimonials too, right? If you have been in business for a while, this is especially for like our service-based people or agencies, like look at your previous clients and who has gotten the best results. One thing that a lot of agencies make, especially when you're starting out, you want to be something for everybody because you don't want to say no to money, right? You're like, this person wants XYZ. I can kind of do this at a C, B+ type of delivery, but as you scale, and the only way to get to that next level is to really niche down and say, what am I better at than anybody else? Where have I gotten the best reviews, the best results for my clients, and then productize that specifically. All right. So aligning your offer as well with purpose and goals. And this kind of comes back to what Ryan was mentioning. Like, is it sustainable long-term? So do you enjoy your business? Do you enjoy what you're doing? And again, you don't have to love it. Like Ryan mentioned, Ryan, we don't love real estate. Like I love doing this as well. Like I think this is super fun, pouring into people. I get fulfillment out of this. I can see the results from it. Don't love real estate, but is it sustainable to do and achieve over the next 3 to 5 years? And then you want to clarify your ultimate business goals too, right? Like, do you want to sell this business down the road? Do you just want to scale it up for cash flow? Like, what is your ultimate goal for your business? Get really clear on that as well, right? Because a lot of people get into business and then they're stuck in this thing. And if you can just focus on building your business to sell, even if you want to keep it, it becomes a way better and more profitable business. And like I said, Ryan and I don't love real estate, but again, it's a great thing to get build cash flow. So, reflection exercise for you guys, and you guys can write this down. Just reflect deeply on your passions, your long-term vision. What aspects of your business inspire you? Can you commit to this business long-term? Does your offer align with your personal values overall and that vision? And then what's your ideal outcome? So you guys can take a picture of that. And then last one is, are you fulfilled by your business's impact? Yeah, everyone's got to retake it. You can write that one down. All right, and then this is super, we think about this a lot, right? We think about time to value for us as the business owner, like when can we recoup our money, but also time to value for the client. And this was a challenge that we had a lot in our real estate education business because real estate takes a long time. Like for somebody to like get and close a deal historically, I mean, for those of you guys who have bought and sold houses, just your personal, I mean, that's like a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month thing from like start to finish. So how can you expedite that process and condense it, right? So for us, we just identify what are the immediate tangible wins your customer can experience. It doesn't need to be the end result. Right? Like, so let's say somebody works with you to achieve X. What is the first step that they can feel that they receive in order to get some sort of value from the jump? So, and again, even if these wins aren't the final result. So for us, we're also establishing clear timelines. If you can't get them a win, right? It does take time for them to see the results. Like, at least how can you outline the roadmap of when they will achieve that result and set expectations? Because, and be clear and making sure that you can make those expectations. Don't say something's going to happen in a month if you know it's going to take you a month and a half, 2 months. People would rather have a clear outline knowing that it's going to be 2 months out versus a missed deadline. All right, so whatever that timeline is, set it and keep it in place. For example, our students, they get a 30-day roadmap. We send it out now. Like, this is something that we've just continued to add on to. Right? So, and for us, we've structured our offer in a way where now they can literally talk to a homeowner, which used to take forever, same day. So our time to value is very, very quick. We get them onboarded immediately, and then we get them calling homeowners literally within that first week if they want to. And so on top of that, they also get their 30-day roadmap. So what are the things in your offer and that you guys can set in place so the second they sign up with you, they feel taken care of, they're working with you immediately, and they get some sort of tangible win? Because, you know, the worst thing that you can feel, and I'm sure everyone's felt this way, where somebody's paid money and they go to ghost, or they go dark, or you don't know what the clear next step is. It's not a great feeling for most people, right? So how can we just immediately give them some sort of tangible win from the jump? And then we also implement powerful guarantees within your offer, right? So these guarantees remove risk. Confidently define some sort of promise that you guys can give. For us, like, I'll say this on our workshops, I'm like, if you can find something better, I'll give you a full refund. They haven't found anything better. If you can clearly outline everything like that somebody else does all in one spot, it doesn't exist. These are additional just ideas for you guys in terms of guarantees, right? Like some sort of performance guarantee. So like, I will achieve X in X amount of time, and if I don't, I'll work with you for free or whatever it might be, right? Service level commitments. You will achieve, like, your AC is going to be fixed today or whatever, right? I'm just using that example because I just dealt with it. And again, when I work with people, like, I'll tell them, like, hey, I'll work with, like, we're going to achieve X result, and if I don't, I'll keep working with you till we do. Easy guarantee, because I know I'm confident in my offer. Because again, it goes back to, can I deliver on what I'm promising? So then we talk about value stacking. So value stacking is amplifying the perceived value of your thing, right? So again, create an offer people feel silly saying no to. It should feel like an absolute no-brainer when they're working with you. It's like, dude, like, why wouldn't I do that? And here's an example of what we do too, right? Like when I talk about value stacking, I'm like, okay, hey, this is a $1,000 value. This is a $1,000 value. This is 97, 197. And by the way, we do sell these things pieced off, like, or we used to, for that price point, right? So for us, we're like, hey, this amounts to like a $5,000 value. We're doing for $1,000. By the way, no contracts. We stand on what we're gonna do. We charge monthly. Like when they see all of it laid out, they're like, yeah, like you guys are legit and I can see the value. So this is an example of like when you guys are presenting your offer, how can I outline every single thing and then present it in a way that's like, oh, well, this is way cheaper than what I would have spent individually. So we like names over here. Right, like we have like these, Ryan called them gimmicks. I mean, I wouldn't call it that, but when you think about compelling offer names, and Ryan's going to talk about it a lot more in marketing, but what are names that directly address your customers' pain points and aspirations, right? So Grand Slam offer is something from Hormozy, cash flow 2.0 method. It comes back to what I was talking about earlier with productizing your offer, right? When people are willing to pay more for something, when it's branded, when it's individual, like, right, if you're a consultant, how can you actually make this a product versus, yeah, a social media coaching? Everybody does social media coaching. How do you stand out and differentiate, right? One of our biggest competitors in the space is Pace Morby. He does subject to. Everybody in real estate, like if you give them the little peace sign, they know, right? Like how can you start just defining your offer and stand out? And then now let's get into creating genuine urgency and scarcity. So these are just some ideas that you guys can take when you are thinking about creating scarcity. Early bird pricing, we say it all the time, like, hey, we reward people who take action. So we're gonna give you a price break on taking action. Clearly limited availability, right? Like I talked about earlier, Ryan, I mean, probably only has 10 spots, and a lot of them are taken. That's all I got, right? So first come, first served availability. And then sign up bonuses, right? So like if you sign up right now, how can I get you in and give you guys a little bit of a bonus? Or bundling, like we talked about earlier. And then this is also for like our digital marketers, right? Like countdown timers, like no, the event's gonna start today, right? Like this is it. You can't, and then or explicit expiration dates, right? Offers only good for the next 48 hours, et cetera. And then also just define sign-up windows, which ties into the countdown timers. This is huge. Rapid testing and validation. Literally what we just did right now with all of you guys. Usually when we do these office tours, we don't have as many people. So we were like, let's just test it. Let's see what happens. We are constantly optimizing and editing our offer based on client feedback. Literally, like, so when I was talking about like these workshops that we run, we tested something new today. And we've been running the same offer for the last like 8-9 months. And so we are always like testing and iterating and getting feedback as quickly as possible. Like obviously you have to have a sample size, and we're gonna talk about that with marketing. But the second that you have an idea, go implement, iterate, get feedback. The only way you guys are gonna be able to get to the best offer possible is by pitching a lot and testing a lot and by doing, right? I can give you guys all of these tactics and a bunch of different ideas, but ultimately you're gonna need to implement and actually try it and see how it resonates with your audience. And then make decisions based on that feedback, right? So what we talk about with testing a lot are these three things: time, money, resources. How much time am I gonna dedicate to a test? How much money am I willing to spend on that test, right? So and then like what resources am I gonna allocate, right? So for example, if we split test something on our landing page, how long are we gonna split test it for? How much money are we gonna spend on that test? And then what team or what resources need to be implemented in order for that thing to happen, right? So that's how we look at every single one of our tests, and we set the benchmarks for it, and then we see what happens, right? But one thing about us is we are always willing to try something, and then if it doesn't work, it's all good. We'll move on. We probably err too much on the side of testing. Aaron's our ad buyer right there, and he's laughing because we try something new all the time. And we've gotten better over the years, but there was a time where we would test like 10 different things at once. Don't do that because you don't know what works. Do a split test, A/B testing. And yeah, we're always iterating. And so, quick summary to break it all down, then I'll open up some questions about the team. We've got a lot that we're going to talk about over these next few days. But profitability, accelerate your payback period. So how quickly can you get paid? And then also, at what margins can you operate this business at scale? And then automate and systematize, so that way you guys aren't the one delivering the product. But again, everything has a price. So if it's worth it for you to be a solopreneur and just be the person because you're getting paid well and it works, great. That's amazing. But still, how can you do that more efficient? And then define your unique value prop. So the one thing that you guys do better than anyone else, and how can you differentiate that thing? And then guarantees. How can you eliminate risk and make the customer a lot more confident in closing, right? The best, and I'm going to talk about sales tomorrow, but the best salespeople eliminate objections before they come up. They're able to explain and know what their customer is struggling with. And this also comes back to understanding who you serve, right? Before you even get to your offer, you got to understand who are you going to serve in the marketplace. And that will also eventually lead to you saying no to people, right? Because if you know this is who I work with, this is who I can best help, there will be people who you will have to say no to. You'll make more money doing that though. And then urgency. How can you authentically create urgency for them to take action now? The worst thing when I was in sales or when I look at the salespeople, right? Like when they leave all their cards on the table and then the person's like, well, I'll call you back next week. Like, oh, they got nothing to say. So like, how can you have them move forward more quickly, sooner? And that's through genuine urgency. And then validation. Quickly test and refine your offering. So quickly get feedback, because what we started with isn't what we ended with at our companies. And even what we have today is going to, it's probably going to change next month. But for the better. And it's always in constant testing and iterating. All right, I'll go back one more time. All right. I know we have a lot, so we'll do some Q&A. All right.